And welcome to Hannity. And tonight, woke pro-Hamas agitators on college campuses are getting booted out of the country, thank goodness. Meanwhile, federal funding was just stripped from at least one radical, hate-filled university, and the Trump administration is only getting started. Coming up, we'll check in with Judge Janine, and we'll get reaction from her. Plus, we'll hear from Charlie Kirk, David Sachs, Michael Rowe tonight. And later, Jimmy Fallon, he's going to be here to analyze the Democratic Party and their latest theatrics and a week's worth of antics that we've never really seen before. But first, we have major developments from President Trump's peace through strength diplomacy. Good news for the country, good news for the world. Today, the president threatened major large-scale sanctions against Russia and Vladimir Putin if they continue to escalate their war with Ukraine while he is negotiating a peace. The president was particularly tough on Putin, writing, quote, "I am strongly considering large-scale banking sanctions and tariffs on Russia until a ceasefire and final settlement agreement of peace is reached. To Russia and Ukraine, get to the table right now before it is too late." Putin is now saying he is ready for a truce. Critical talks with Ukraine and the U.S. are planned for next week in Saudi Arabia. That's called progress. What did I say a week ago? We're not patting ourselves on the back. What did I say after the Zelensky meeting didn't go well at the White House? I said he would be back. He has no other place to go. It's in everybody's best interest that the killing and destruction ends. This did not take long. Now the president is ratcheting up the heat on Putin, and not too far away in Iran, peace might also soon be on the horizon. Now, Donald Trump's maximum pressure campaign there appears to be paying off. Today, the president teased a possible nuclear deal that would put an end to the mullahs' nuclear aspirations. In fact, the president sent a letter to the mullahs of Iran. Discuss the contents of that letter with our very own Maria Bartiromo. Take a look.
I'm not sure that everybody agrees with me, but we can make a deal that would be just as good as if you won militarily. But the time is happening now. The time is coming up. Something's going to happen one way or the other. I hope that Iran, and I've written them a letter saying, I hope you're going to negotiate, because if we have to go in militarily, it's going to be a terrible thing for them.
Now, that entire interview with Maria will air this weekend on Sunday Morning Futures on the Fox News channel right here. But after weeks of nonstop action, it's safe to say that the Trump agenda is making big progress both at home and abroad. Now, the same cannot be said for the Democratic Party. They have no discernible plan to improve the country at all whatsoever. And then to make matters worse, where's the hope and the joy? There's no sense of humor, no optimism, just anger, hatred, rage, no big ideas, no leadership. Just anti-Trump rage 24/7, along with a heavy dose of intolerance for anybody with a different opinion. After years of woke indoctrination, cancel culture, righteous indignation, Democrats totally forgot how to kind of just be normal, authentic, to have a heart, a conscience, a soul, sympathy. We got yet another weird, bizarre, cringeworthy video, this time from the House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who filmed himself doing some kind of pre-rehearsed rant. Okay, take a look. Here's the latest.
Just finished up a telephone town hall meeting with my dynamic sister, our Attorney General, Tish James, and my team informs me that some far-right extremists have introduced a resolution to try to throw Democratic members of the House off of our committees. That resolution is going nowhere. You ain't throwing no one off of any single committee. These people are malignant clowns. You aren't throwing anyone off of any committee in the House of Representatives. Don't make me expose you to folks who don't know you.
The only thing missing was they're Hitler, they're Stalin, they're Mussolini. This is the leader of the Democratic Party in the House of Representatives. By the way, I didn't see him standing for the mothers that lost their daughters to unvetted Joe Biden-Harris illegals, or a 12-year-old young man that beat cancer, or the wife of a hero whose husband died in the line of duty. Why wasn't he standing? Why wouldn't he stand for the First Lady? He would be Speaker today if Democrats didn't get crushed in last year's election. And now he frankly looks empty and pathetic like his entire party. And to be honest, this past week looked like a cry for help more than anything else. A party in need of a major soul searching, a change of course that in all truth is likely impossible as they cling endlessly to their radicalism and extremism. There was just one bizarre video after another this week, including one inspired by a video game, asking Americans to choose their fighter. But as the Trump team pointed out, America, they already chose their fighter. And guess what? It wasn't any of those Democrats on your screen. Take a look. Now, we do have their worst videos of the week. We'll get reaction from Jimmy Fallon. That's straight ahead. Not that anyone at the DNC or the Democratic Party wants my advice, but let's be kind of clear. There's really only one way for the Democratic Party to recover, and they would first need to admit they've got a major problem, and their problem is their policies. Their problem is their radicalism. Their policy is their extremism, and they just keep doubling and tripling down on dumb, dumber, and stupid, and weird and bizarre, and also terrible candidates. Now, according to reports, Kamala Harris, she is now gearing up for another election. Apparently is considering a run to be the governor of California. This as Democrats express outrage at the current governor of California. That's Gavin Newsom, our old friend. The left is now turning on their own golden governor, all because he appeared on a podcast with our friend Charlie Kirk and dared to criticize biological men who compete in women's sports. We'll check in with Charlie in just a moment about that interview. But sadly, it is becoming almost impossible to speak up for sanity, decency, common sense inside the Democratic Party. That was on full display all week. Freedom of speech, freedom of thought no longer exist inside the DNC. They just have their little, bingo paddles that they pull out. Kind of why Joe Rogan pointed out that the left, in their attempt to mimic his podcast, they are doomed to fail. By the way, unless you're authentic in broadcasting in some way, shape, manner, form, you're destined to fail. Take a look.
I saw one CNN after the election, they were talking about us in specific, and they were talking about how there is this network of podcasts that are interconnected that has been financed, like this huge corporate finance network. But they were like trying to sort it out.
Bro, it's
like
so funny
they
when they
support
try to
each
solve the
other, they
problem.
go on each other's shows. And they're all in this together. Well, we need that on the left. Like, good luck.
Yeah, that's...
You guys cancel each other if your Ukraine flag is too small.
Yeah. 6 by 6.
Yeah, you talk about each other for not having trans kids. You guys are out of your mind. You're not gonna sync up together. You're in a suicide cult.
They already have 3 broadcast networks, 2 left-wing radical cable channels. They have almost every major newspaper in the country. So can they recover? Is that the answer? And what should we make of Governor Newsom and his recent split with his radical colleagues?